Hello, everybody, and welcome to the review of House of the Many Dragons with Ben Ulancy and Brandon Elrich. And I'm Peter. This is on the Gen Z report, and it'll be on Brandon's Substack as well. Then it'll be on my YouTube. And this is full of spoilers, so if you don't like spoilers, go away. So, guys, the finale. What did you think? What was your favorite moment?
So I think that we can all agree that the big moment of this episode was the moment they've really been teasing all season, the reveal of the Adam and Alan Hole rock duo. And it's something that they've been leading up to all show, and that was really essential to George R. R. Martin's lore. So it's really nice to see that finally come to fruition, and for Adam to finally pick up that electric guitar and do that Jimi Hendrix rendition of Star Spangled Banner. It might have been a little bit anachronistic, but I thought it really worked well.
Yeah, I that's probably my fourth favorite moment, but that's a good call. Brandon, what about you?
Um, well, I don't know if it was my favorite part, but it was the most surprising, the eroticism between Vagar and Syrax, that they that explicitness. I mean, I know House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones, they're always showing a lot of nudity and sex
Yeah.
and everything, but
Yeah.
I was surprised that they did it with the dragons.
Yeah, we didn't get to see Cyclops Dong and the Odyssey, but we did finally get to see the Dragon Dong that they've been teasing for 3 whole seasons, and really throughout all of Game of Thrones too. So I think that it's a beautiful thing to see this finally come to fruition.
Yeah.
I agree.
Um. Okay. Yeah. No. That the Vagar and Cyrex erotic moment. That's number 2 on my list, and the Adam and Alan rock duo, Jimi Hendrix thing, was I think number 4. Just so you all know, I'm taking my notes tonight on the pen that was used by the showrunners to actually write the show.
Oh,
Yeah, it's as you can see on the top box off. Like that. My favorite moment from the show was when a drunk guy rode a dragon, and as he was about to kill everybody, he said, "Fuck you too," and he burned everybody. That was my favorite moment. Oh wait, that happened. Ugh.
yeah.
The implication there is that the Adam and Alan Hole rock duo didn't happen, and I take a lot of offense to that.
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder whether we watched a different finale, because to me
Me-
that was the most pivotal event of in the entire show thus far. Because the things that they could accomplish with the rock between the two of them, it really just trumps all of the all that they have going with the dragons, I think.
I think, and this is how I feel, I'm really happy it's all over. Because this morning when I was watching it, um, again, I paused about halfway through and started doing the dishes. Because I just wasn't like, I was like, because I got to about 35 minutes into the episode and like there was nothing happening. And I was like, I'm just gonna, do some stuff around the house. I'm sorry, I hate to be this guy, but I absolutely hated every second of it.
Really?
Oh, really?
I hated every second of it. I'm sorry.
I thought this one was really intense, actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of
It
like,
was. No, it was. Yeah, it was. But like, I have my own reasons. So maybe you guys should go ahead and give your thoughts first, because
Can we talk about that awesome recap music? I don't know if you guys noticed that as much as I did, but the music that they used for the recap, I'm pretty sure it was the first time they ever pulled out that song in the show, and man, that was so perfectly tense. It really just let you know that something big was coming.
yeah,
I skipped the recap.
Oh yeah,
I didn't.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll watch it again. But like, I watched it this morning, but I didn't really notice anything
Okay.
about it. Like I say, I watch it in the morning, so maybe my mood just isn't in the right place. I don't know.
But I did have that same experience of getting halfway into the episode, and I started to actually wonder whether they were going to drag this out for another season. Like if they were this whole episode, they were just going to keep like ordering troops around and building this sense of urgency, and then it's like, all right, wait till season 3. I would have been livid if they had done that because
They
man,
kind of did.
say again.
They kind of did. They kind of did do that.
It kind of what it did remind me of a little bit in a negative way was the final seasons of Game of Thrones, in that a lot happened and it was very bombastic and the stakes were very high, but really not a lot of people actually died. It was pretty low stakes in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I felt like this one had a lot of emotion in it, like with the not just with the dragons, but with the putting the kids, especially that part. I thought, but when you put kids in danger, I think that really kind of hit at least most people, putting them on the in the front lines and everything, and they panned along each kid, and you saw the one that had peed his pants and vomiting and stuff like that, and you could see how scared they were, and that some of them were going to die, and so that kind of tugs at you.
Yeah, I like the realism of that, and I don't think we've really seen that much in the past. The what the kids go through before all of this goes down. I guess a little bit in the King's Landing invasion in season 2 of Game of Thrones, but not quite as visceral. Like the way you see them all puking and pissing their pants, it really does drive home the intensity of it.
Yeah, and that one where I can't remember his I don't remember names very well, but the kind of Viking looking guy with the beard,
Roddy the Ruin.
Yep.
He takes his axe and slices one of the little one's face into. That was like, usually don't see them slaughtering kids quite so graphically like that.
That was also another parallel to the invasion of the Blackwater in Game of Thrones, when you see Stannis climb up the wall and just start going crazy as soon as he's up on the battlements.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah,
how did you guys feel? Like, I know you haven't read the books, and when I finished it today, my wife says, like, "You're not happy, are you?" I was like, "No," and she was like, "Joe, why don't you just like fuck off back to the books then?" And not her words, but like she kind of just said, like, "Why don't you just focus on the books and instead of the show?" And maybe I will, because it really made it. It has made it a lot less enjoyable, especially since season 2. Like, how did you guys feel about Daemon being at Tumbleton?
I thought it was nice to see him be like an actual warrior on the battlefield instead of just on his dragon. I think some people pointed that out as a plot hole, that he wasn't on his dragon, but for me, it kind of seemed like a thing of personal pride. Like he wanted to prove that he could still be that on the grounds warrior.
Mm-hmm. Because he's not meant to be at Tumbleton at all.
Oh no,
no.
Oh,
he's supposed to be in the Riverlands chasing Vhagar with Caraxes. And that's like his whole plot line, and that's why I was so worried about when the sheep stealer thing happened a few weeks ago. Like I said, we have a sheep stealer problem. Like, Rhaena, she's meant to be Nettles in the book, and Daemon is supposed to fall in love with Nettles. Okay, and Nettles has a dragon called Sheep Stealer. So when they changed it to Rhaena, like his daughter, I was like, okay, well, he can still go off to the Riverlands with her and fly off and chase Vhagar. But then in the last episode, they kill poor Sheep Stealer basically, and then take Rhaena back to King's Landing. So then I'm kind of like, oh my god! So Daemon's not going to be doing his arc in the Riverlands chasing Aemon. So when he was at Tumbleton, the minute I saw him at Tumbleton, I was just like, I'm so out of this life because it's kind of like it would be like in Lord of the Rings if Bilbo, what's his name? What's the name of the guy who went with Frodo Baggins? Samwise Gamgee. It would be like if Samwise Gamgee didn't go to Mount Doom with Frodo. Like that's how big of a thing it is to have like Daemon at Tumbleton. Is huge.
Well, so who in the book went to I mean, there was a battle at Tumbleton, right?
Yeah.
Do you
I mean,
know
in the book
who's at Tumbleton? Ormond Hightower, Daeron Targaryen, and Roddy the Ruin, the northern guy, and then the big guy with the big sword, John Roxton, the guy who nearly kills Daemon. They're all there. So they have plenty of characters there. And then when Ormond knights Daeron and calls him like, I knight you, Daeron the Daring. And that was very annoying as well, because in the book, by this point, Daeron has like fought 5 battles and covered himself in glory and earned that moniker. So for them just to kind of go like, I knight you, Daeron the Daring, it's anyway. Point is, they had plenty of characters because I think the actors playing the Hightowers and Daeron have done a great job, and I would have been on their side. But then if you put like Caraxes and Daemon into the scene, Matt Smith just steals it. You know what I mean? But it's not his scene to steal. Like that belongs to other characters.
Well, who of Rhaenyra's arm, like who led the battle up on her side in Tumbleton in the book?
They've in the book, I think they cut one of the characters, so like they're just not in the show. But you still had the Tully kid, and you still had Roddy the Ruin at that battle. So you still have 2 people who, the small kid who has the voice breaking, the Tully kid, the fish kid. They're there. I think the Tully kid is there in the book, but definitely the Winter Wolves are there, and Ulf the White is there, and Hugh the Hammer are there. So they're
well, not reading the book and just watching the show. It made sense to me that Daemon would lead that battle.
Yeah,
well,
I thought so too.
Not really, because from their point of view, they already have from Rhaenyra's point of view, she already has 2 dragons there. Silver and Vermithor. Like, she doesn't know that Ulf the White is going to, turn crazy. So logically, in the book, from her point of view, she has 2. And logically, in the book, she sends Daemon to stop Aemon, because what Aemon is doing is burning the Riverlands in the book, which makes the Tully host kind of like want to not turn back, but they always have one eye at home. You know what I mean? They're getting word that everything's been burned. So that's why Daemon and Nettles, Daemon and Nettles in the book go off to try and find Vhagar. Now, as we go forward to season 4, what is Daemon's motivation to now go get Vhagar? Like, because he is going to have to eventually go and face Vhagar. And what's his motivation? So is it still to go chasing them? And then how many other things get pushed back? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 huge things that still have to happen. And they cut so many other huge things. And I said, oh, well, they've cut so many huge things because they're going to put more huge things in season 3. But they didn't. There's only the Gullet and Tumbleton, 2 huge things in season 3. And I was watching last thing. I was watching the behind the scenes of the episode, and the showrunner said at the end of it, now this is giving you a taste of what's to come in the Dance with Dragons. And I'm like, dude, you only have 1 season left of 8 episodes, and you've done nothing. Absolutely.
Totally disagree. Oh my God. Oh, I couldn't disagree more. It was an 8-episode long season, and many, many huge things happened. Episode 1 and 2 are just climactic. And then to have another episode again this same season that was as big as this one, I also thought episode 7 too was pretty significant. But this to me was a pretty.
What did the last episode achieve?
What did this recent episode achieve?
No, the one before. Like, what did it achieve?
I thought it was incredibly intense watching the dragons and their rulers just try to gain control of the situation and just be so helpless. And I had no idea.
That's the part that sticks out to me too. Yeah.
I had no idea who was going to get out of there. The whole scene, I'm like jaw dropped, like what the fuck is about to happen here? So that was a big deal for me. I keep thinking whenever we do these talks, I keep thinking about so I'm in a couple of House of the Dragon Facebook groups where people post memes, and there's a whole bunch to the effect of people who read House of the Dragons every time that the show diverges from the book, and it's just someone freaking out, da da da. And,
yeah.
And,
well,
and you take issue with so many things that are just completely unproblematic to me as someone who's just a fan of the show. It all feels totally cohesive to me.
Right, but you're also a fan of Game of Thrones, right?
I think Game of Thrones totally dropped the ball in season 7 and 8.
Yeah, you're still a fan of the universe. I mean, why does Helena kill herself at the end of the episode?
Because she realizes that she's completely trapped.
Right, but wasn't her main motivation to protect her children?
That part kind of confused me, actually.
Well, if she kill herself if she's pregnant, if her whole thing is to protect Jaehaera and then for her unborn child. The thing is, like, the main reason why...
That was made clear to me.
What?
That was made clear to me. Because she realized that the kid would be born a pawn and would never have a life of his own.
I was a little confused because she had that one vision where she was with her kids in a kind of off in the countryside or whatever. It kind of seemed like that was like a future or possible future or the future for her and her kids. And then she killed herself. I was like, oh, well, that's kind of, that part did kind of confuse me a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah.
I like the poetry of seeing someone else commit Tommen's
Right.
Oh,
Tommen had a good reason to jump out that window.
Poor Tommen.
Helena didn't. I mean, Helena had a child and she was pregnant. And again, in the books, I'm sorry, her child is born. His name is Maelor, and he gets captured, and then he gets ripped apart by a mob, and that sends her over the edge. You know what I mean? And that's kind. And it was the same in season 2 with Blood and Cheese, like where they completely watered that down. So I guess the biggest kind of problem is that, like, and I said it with Game of Thrones as well, like how Stannis has to be taught by his daughter about the Dance of Dragons, and he's like the smartest man in Westeros. Is that it just didn't make any sense because of, we know, well, like it's the bloodiest time in Targaryen history where it's just battle after battle after death after death, battle, and there hasn't been that much. I'm not saying show every battle, but they didn't even mention any of the battles that Daeron did in the Reach on the lead up to Tumbleton, you know? And I found that to be strange, you know, because they could have explained all of that in just, like, you know, 5 or 6 minutes speaking. Like they said, here, did you hear about Daeron do this, Daeron do that? That could have helped a small bit, you know? And to think that, like, Aemond and Aegon's that's their last scene. That scene in Harrenhal for another 2 years. You know, I found that kind of disappointing. That, like, that was Aemond's last scene, and all he did was, like, chill out with Alice Rivers, which he does in the books, but he's doing so much more as well. And why does Vagar leave him? That breaks a lot of lore. Anyway, look, if I hadn't have read the books, maybe I would have enjoyed it, but there was things in it that I thought I'd be able to put to one side, especially after season 2. And I thought after watching the Battle of the Gullet, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But as the season has gone on, I've been getting, more and more pissed off.
So
Sorry.
my understanding of the book is that it's almost a cop-out in how it doesn't actually depict any of these events and just does the lazy part in saying, this is what happened, and this is what some people reported happened, and this is what the townsfolk reported happening. But you don't, as much as you would in the Game of Thrones universe or Song of Ice and Fire universe, actually see events playing out. So I think in that way, it didn't really lend itself to a show as much as Game of Thrones, and it makes what they've achieved even more impressive.
No, because if the author of the book literally says out loud he wants nothing to do with the show, then they haven't done it. They haven't done it right. As a piece of entertainment, maybe they have. It has been entertaining and it is really good. But we're holding it to a higher standard of just even Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad is the best show ever made. But Game of Thrones, because of the world building, kind of like Lord of the Rings, will always be held to a different standard of, say, The Wire, Breaking Bad, things like that, because of the world building that has happened. But if the author comes out and says, I want nothing to do with this when he reads the scripts for season 3, that's not a good sign. And I thought he was just being a grumpy old man about it.
Yes,
But,
that's my thought.
Yeah, and then but after this season, I was just kind of like this is not good. But I have to defend Fire and Blood. Fire and Blood does go into it a lot more. They have different sources and things like that. They're this book here. Where was that? I don't have Fire and Blood because it's back in Ireland. But this book here, it goes into everything like you say. They talk about it bits and pieces and stuff like that. But Fire and Blood actually does tell you a lot about it. And the thing that you said, it's not reliable, that's the thing I like about it, because it's done by Maesters in Old Town or something like that, where they're obviously on the high tower side or whatever. But they do tell you what happened pretty clearly, because they say, okay, who's alive, who's dead? Do you know? And then they say, well, he's alive and he's dead. How did that happen? Oh, we think it happened with this way. But in the show, they're completely killing people completely differently,
But
and they're for different reasons.
But I still think it's one thing to just say, oh, and then these 3 characters all died in Dragonfire, and while so and this happened, and to actually show that if it's so elaborate. I think
right, but they would remember if fucking Daemon Targaryen was there on Caraxes. That would have been in the book if that had happened. I can understand with Vagar and Lucerys and Arax, where it's maybe it was an accident, and I can understand with Alicent where it's maybe Viserys said something to her. That's creative license. I get that, but just to have a big, huge fuck off dragon in Tumbleton who just wasn't there is just so obvious HBO bullshit, where it's we have Matt Smith, therefore we must use him, and we don't want to do that, and it's so easy to see through it, and it's fucked, man. It's completely fucked. If you go and when you finish watching the show, and if you go back and read the book, you will feel completely different. Is it good television? Yeah, it's really good, but there's a big pacing problem then as well. It was slow at times this season.
Yeah.
Really slow.
That was kind of how I felt with reading the Harry Potter books versus watching the movie. I really enjoyed the sixth movie in particular when it came out. But reading the book for it, I ended up becoming retroactively frustrated with just how much they leave out of the movie. um,
I think the Harry Potter movies are good.
I think I think they're one of the best examples of a film adaptation series coming from a book. They do omit some things and definitely have some creative liberties, but for most part, I feel like they do a really spectacular job of capturing the essence and leaving out things that should be left out.
I think one thing the House of the Dragon misses that Game of Thrones really had was a lot of the shock value. Because they had so many different characters, so many stories going on at once, going back and forth between different stories and whatnot, and people that you expected were main characters all of a sudden what got killed, and they didn't have that. They don't have that in House of the Dragon so much. It's that I think that part kind of lets you down as far as like the suspense and the shock of it all.
The Battle of the Gullet was tapped into peak Game of Thrones in that way for me, but this recent episode was more like the bad part of Game of Thrones. Because the Battle of the Gullet, I didn't know any of how that was going to go down beforehand, so that was I was absolutely jaw dropped in a way that very few TV shows have ever left me before watching that one. And this one, it definitely reminded me a lot more of Game of Thrones season 7 and 8, where you always kind of know the good guys are going to win, and the long night still pisses me off so much. It was the biggest threat in the entire show, and who did you even lose? You lose like two unimportant static side characters. Like, ugh.
Yeah, I think George R. R. Martin said something about it before it aired, maybe a few years before, I think so, where he said like, like as I'm writing the books and people have their theories on it, and they're kind of saying like, who killed the blah blah blah, and on some internet forum, someone might say, oh, the butler did it, and he's like, just because someone figures out that the butler did it doesn't mean you have to change your ending, because then you have to go back and change all the clues and everything. And that perfectly, I think he was kind of alluding to like what they were going to do with Arya and Jon Snow. It was like, it was so obviously meant for Jon Snow to have a showdown with the Night King, and all the clues were there, and then just to have Arya just like, do a Jet Li kind of backflip into the Godswood and stab him. It was so bad. But yeah, I don't know. Did you think that do you think Daeron, and I don't know the answer to this, by the way, do you think Daeron is dead?
No.
Brandon,
I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I genuinely do not know, because like fuck knows what they're doing. Because I just saw like Wayne like at the end like looking for him. What did you think of the battle between Daemon and John Roxton, the guy with the big sword?
Pretty intense.
I almost I had the feeling that possibly Daemon could die in that one.
Yeah. Or at least get seriously wounded.
Yeah, he seemed like he was a little in over his head with that one. That was intense. I think something that the episode captured really well for me is just the sheer chaos of it. Like you were upset that like plans changed and it didn't go exactly as it did in the book, but I think that it does a really good job of illustrating like everybody is in a freaking frenzy. Plots are changing left and right. This side is plotting against its own side and trying to negotiate a surrender, while this side has this drunkard dragon dude.
100%. I agree with you. We agree with 99% of everything. But just Daemon being at Humbleton, I was just like, because like when I think I saw something in the trailer for it, and I said maybe he leads them down there, then he flies off to do what he needs to do. But no, he was like full on, and I love Caraxes. He's like, hey, look, I love the more of that dragon, the better. I love the way he just calls him and he starts like coming up behind him. I love that. It's amazing. It's super cool. But yeah, it was. I checked it and I was like, oh, there's only 10 minutes left of this season and we're not going to see this for 2 years. And I just wasn't satisfied, but not in a good way, you know. I just like, because I don't always want to be satisfied by something. I want a little bit more to come back to. But like, I really felt like I went into this season expecting like, you know, a 4-cheese pizza extra large. And, you know, I only got like a little bite, you know what I mean? Before it was thrown in the bin. Like, I just was not satiated at all. But it was good television at times. What do you think about Rhaenyra in the set?
One other question I briefly wanted to bring up. Do you think Ulf was in the shitter in earnest after drinking too much, or that he was hiding?
No, he was in the shitter because he drank too much.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. I think he probably was scared, but I think he did earnestly have the shits and was quite drunk.
I'm impressed by his eyesight. Like how he could pick out Ormond. He's like, that's him.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like that does happen in the books. Like, you know, Ulf does turn. So great, but more proof that Caraxes should not have been there, because then there would have been real carnage, I think, because Caraxes would have just went for Silverwing if he saw another dragon coming down burning where his rider was. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, you know, that's just my nerdy Game of Thrones kind of like, this is how dragons act. Coming out. But that's kind of like what I thought. But like, that's kudos to the show, because I do kind of sit, and the books, because I do sit there kind of going like, this is not how a dragon would think. Well, can I ask you about the set? Because I have it in the notes here, and I don't want to miss anything. We can circle back to your point if you want, but I want to know what you think about the set.
That was another scene that I really, really liked. I don't know if it's just my distaste for organized religion, but as
Jesus, man.
As soon as Cersei stormed in there, I'm like, yeah, fucking get those fuckers.
Cersei.
Or not Cersei, Daenerys. Sorry.
You're having flashbacks.
Yeah, quite comparable. Yeah, she was also not a fan of the faithful.
Yeah. I don't even remember reading that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But Brandon, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see what's his name? Her right hand,
Alan.
I was gonna say Adam, and I was like,
no, he's the bass player for Alan and Adam. Yeah, he's the bass
player. Right.
Yeah,
Alan. I was like, you could see a little bit of the conflict, but he goes ahead with it, and
there
kind of wonder.
Long conflict though when you're about to stab.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
And to beat the High Septon over the head with the electric guitar like that, I was just absolutely gratuitous. And really, I didn't know that they actually even had electricity in Westeros.
No, but my favorite part was like after he killed the Pope and he started putting up the Scientology flags. But it was like, about goddamn time.
About time. It kind of makes you wonder what his actual motivation was. Like when his brother questioned him, you just want the glory, or you want to elevate yourself. But is it that he's trying to prove himself worthy to marry, you know, a
Baela?
Yeah, Baela, or is it that he does want his name? You know, maybe that will finally make Rhaenyra dub him a Valyrian and whatnot, you know, or whatever. But I don't know.
Funny because in the books, Adam, the other guy on Sea Smoke, he's the one who is like really, really loyal to Rhaenyra. And Adam is too, like, you know, but it was kind of funny to see kind of Adam kind of saying like, she's lost her mind and not lost her mind, but she's gone down a dark path. And it's like, how do you know? And I was just kind of wondering, like, where did he get that information from? Was it because that she was mean to Bela at the beginning of the episode, where she's like, "You insolent child," and like, I'm trying to see where that besides Jace's death, I'm trying to figure out like where that riff kind of originated. Where, why does Adam have a problem with what Rhaenyra is doing? Yeah, I don't know. I was confused by that. It's not a big deal, but it was just something that confused me a little bit. I know, and especially the part with Bela where she like grabbed her face saying like "insolent child." I was like, "Have you forgiven them? Like, what's your plan for them? What's going on here?" It does feel like Rhaenyra, especially, was like written by two people. I kind of feel like someone said, I'm going to do the good version of her, and then for the last two episodes, you can write this really kind of frazzled fascist version of her. Like, I know people are complicated and everything like that, but she just feels like a different person episode to episode for me.
I thought that they did a really good job capturing her anguish upon the discovery of Aegon still being alive, because she was already in such a distraught state. So for her to discover that like the single biggest challenger to her legitimacy is not only still alive, but still has his dragon after she very explicitly declared him dead. Yeah, I think that was a pretty legitimate cause for her to spiral even more than she has thus far.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just
she does pretty suddenly like become a lot more confident than I think she had been in the past. Like when she first took the throne, she was kind of crying and was very unsure of herself, and Daemon kind of had to say, everybody's watching, you need to get up there and take the throne, you need to be, and now she's just like completely like taking charge and is like, I am the chosen one. And
her transition feels a lot more believable to me than Daenerys Targaryen. I think that it ultimately made sense for her to become the Mad Queen, but the night and day shift there, I think people were really right to take issue with. But Rhaenyra, you do see the madness seeping in gradually, and the events that start to eat away at her, and yeah, it's working pretty well for me. I like her arc.
Do you think that's the writers did that because of the backlash from Game of Thrones? Are like,
Very
okay, maybe we need to.
Yeah, very likely.
Yeah, I like that they made Rhaenyra and Alicent kind of our POVs. Okay, I like that. But the problem is that Alicent has no agency after Aegon is elected or crowned king. She has no agency. Like, unfortunately in that world, she's just his mother. You know what I mean? So they had to concoct this whole sort of storyline where Alicent and Rhaenyra, they're still kind of friends, and they meet up, and they have this whole plot. They have to make this whole plot where he opens the gates, and it was a little bit sad to me because I really liked that they were going to have these two characters be the two POVs, and I thought it was going to be super interesting. And I don't think they needed to concoct all these extra plots for Alicent for that to happen. I kind of feel like you could still have a really good arc from a mother's point of view, looking after her daughter, talking to her, even how she deals with guards. I just, in the dialogue, it would be really good and emotional. I don't think you have to turn her into an assassin who goes up to try and kill her son in Harrenhal. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was weird. That is like, I need you. Like, I'm going to take you, my most prized hostage, and I'm going to send you to your son who has a dragon, and you're going to kill him for me. And then, by the way, you should come back here. Like, I found that like batshit crazy.
Well, one of my growing concerns about this universe with Game of Thrones, I felt like the reason that it went off course was because they no longer had the source material from George R. R. Martin to go off of, and just did their own thing, and it was very poorly received as a result. Now I'm starting to wonder whether more of the issue is just that this universe George R. R. Martin has created is too expansive, has too many characters, too many things going on, too many supernatural elements for it to ever be satisfactorily closed. So I'm feeling a concern that we're heading into the same sort of disappointment that befell the end of Game of Thrones. And I'm very much hoping that I'm wrong, but it does feel right now like there's a lot that needs to happen in this last season. And man, I really hope they're giving themselves enough space to do it, enough episodes to do it.
I 100% agree with you. Except for one thing.
Hmm?
They could have condensed down many things without having to have changed what they've changed. They cut, for example, remember when Daemon is dancing in the Riverlands and they are eating fish and they have like one of the Lannisters' heads cut off. That was like the battle called Fish Feed. That was a huge battle. And like they cut it. I'm like, fine, I get it. They did that in Game of Thrones as well with the Wolf's Wood or something like that. We never saw any of Robb Stark's battle, but we got to hear about them. And I kind of like that more, honestly, the way people talk about these things that happen off screen sometimes. And like I said earlier, they cut all of Daeron's battles in the Reach. And I would have been cool with that if they had spoken about it a little bit. We could have heard about his exploits. And yeah, that they can do that and they can cut everything down, no problem. But now we're going into a Night of the Seven Kingdoms and a Game of Thrones that happens after that. And they've altered the Targaryen bloodline. Do you know? Like with some of the things they've done. And they didn't really have to do it. And that's the thing that's probably needling book readers so much. That like we know like that we're not going to get a Dorne storyline that's satisfactory in the show. We're not going to get the Aegon storyline. We didn't get that in the show. We didn't get lots of things in the show, but it was still great up until season 6. So like that's kind of like a deal with the devil. But yeah, I agree with you. They just changed their own things.
I think it kind of highlights the talent level, or at least the big difference between a literary writer and a show writer. You like through the Game of Thrones, like you were said, they ran out of source material because they didn't have this literary fictional novel to go by, and so they just kind of went, well, let's just do this, and you're writing all this stuff, and then
I agree with you, but I disagree with you because I actually think that the show was probably one of the greatest shows that it's ever been made. Because of like the CGI, the people who do the costumes, the actors, the directors, even the writers, even though I have problems with what they do. It's like there's so many talented people who have made this amazing TV show, which is why I'm so perplexed. As I'm like, you did all of that, but you did that. Like that's so weird, That's why, because it is awesome. And like
overall, yeah, but I'm just focusing on the writing itself, like the storyline writing of it is like not quite up to the level of a literary fictional writer, novel writer.
And to that point earlier, I feel like it's really easy to say, oh, this and this happens, and to type it out on your keyboard. But it's another thing to actually acquire the budget that it would take in order for these scenes to be meaningfully depicted. And House of the Dragon has a significantly higher budget than Game of Thrones. Like you said, one of the most visual shows ever created, ever got in its 8-season runtime. It's like 20 million. I forget if it's per episode, but it's something truly colossal they've given to this show's special effects team. So I think that they ran into hard limits and just realized that there were battles that they had to leave out of this show if they were going to stick within their budget and make the ones that they did show as spectacular as they were.
I agree, but like, are they using the pen well? You know, because Game of Thrones happened. Like, that happened with Game of Thrones in season 1. I don't remember what it was. It was the boar hunt that killed Robert Baratheon, and like in the actual show, he's just like walking through the Godswood with a spear, and he's got 1 or 2 guards. And George R. R. Martin was kind of saying like, hey man, there should be like tents and caravans. And they just said, look man, we don't have the budget for it. So like, what are you going to do? Well, what they did do is they gave that scene like a fantastic bit of dialogue between him and Renly, where we really learned a lot about Renly's view on the world. And just, it was very useful, well done. And they could have done that in House of the Dragon a bit more, I feel, where fine, if you're going to cut fish feed and if you're going to cut the butcher's fall, which is basically what they did. I mean, the way Kristen Cole went out was really disappointing. But yeah. So I got distracted by a comment. It was a righteous opening.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what that meant.
But yeah, it was. What was I saying? Yeah, they could have written it in a bit better. If they wanted to cut battles, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
like they could have spoken about what Darren did. It would only take like, half a page.
Yeah, I'm still trying to hold on hopes that this last season is going to bring it all together, but I am starting to have more and more of these fears that this is heading a similar direction to Game of Thrones.
Do you know what I think is going to happen?
What's up?
I think it's going to be really good. I think season 4 is going to be really good.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just how we have gotten there, or how we how we have gotten there. Has just been shit. Shit from a Game of Thrones like season 1 to 6 standard, and a United Seven Kingdoms standard, because that's what we're putting it up against. And it always feels bad, like going onto the internet and saying these things about these TV shows, because I can't stress enough, like how much like respect I have for like the amount of work that goes into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was disappointing, but on the bright side, my wife wanted to start watching the show, so we started at season 1. So we're watching season 1 right now of House of the Dragon, and she's really liking it.
Last night, I found myself measuring the progression of House of the Dragon against the progression of AI. Season 1, AI didn't exist. Season 2, AI is becoming ubiquitous. Season 3, it's like it's no longer in its infancy. By the time season 4 comes out, I reason we might be sheltering from Terminator bots roaming the street.
I was thinking about that today, because I was like, the first time I ever spoke to you about like entertainment or anything online was about House of the Dragon, about like 3 years ago, I think. 2 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago. And I'm like, next time we do this, will any of us still be on the internet? You know what I mean? Like we just have moved on to different stuff. I don't know. It'd be weird. I wasn't thinking about it in the doomsday way that you're thinking about it, but I was thinking about it. But I tell you what I did do today. I opened up like a Google Doc and I started writing very, very badly, how I would have written the show. And unfortunately, and I mentioned this to you guys before, the best way to save the show is by cutting its best season, which is season 1. It's the only way to save the show.
Tragic.
Yeah, I haven't seen one.
By next year, we're going to have our AI avatars will be talking back and forth. We won't even be here.
Oh yeah, we can just like record our voices and kind of say,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "Hey AI, my opinion in this episode, I want you to be like kind of like the books,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would be like, "I can't remember the name of a character ever." That's my personality. So what else happened in the show? One last thing. Uh, Aegon back from the dead. What did you like that?
Oh,
I liked his scene with Aemond. I think I might have liked to see a little bit more happen with that. I expected that they might fly into Tumbleton. But it was a pretty good reunion moment between him and Aemond.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
I like that he set aside his desire for vengeance, and you could still tell that he was thinking about it. But he's like, all right,
Yeah.
the world is in chaos right now. We've gotta team up if we're gonna.
Sunfire is the goat. Just like he just flew into that hall and skidded. And you can tell he just doesn't give a flying F anymore about anything, you know? You could tell back when he was beautiful, he would have landed gracefully, but now he's like, I'm just gonna flop in here.
I think Aegon realized that killing him would have been stupid. He needs his dragon, if he's gonna take back his throne.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Will Sunfire be happy to see Vhagar when they do meet up again? You.
Oh yeah. Well, probably similar to Aegon. It's like,
Yeah.
I really want to kill you, but
are you telling me you forget this guy?
Vhagar is just gonna play the "I was only following orders" card.
Yeah.
Right.
So hey, come on! I ate the other dragon. I only burnt you. All right. So let's just do. What was your favorite episode of the season?
Probably the first one.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think the most.
Hey, just for any viewers tuning in today, Brandon doesn't actually watch the show.
I haven't seen any of it. I'm just going by what I've heard online. No,
I just know what it means.
I think really the last yesterday's and the episode before were the most intense for me. Like last night's episode, I think was probably one of the most emotional back and forth. So I don't know. I'd probably go with the season finale of yesterday, just because maybe it's recency bias, but I don't know. If I went back and watched it again, I'd probably pick one of the earlier episodes, but
yeah, I have to go with the Gullet.
Yeah,
that's my one. I liked the whole POV of Rhaenyra in episode 3. I think I thought that was cool. I thought episode 2, like the season started really strong. The first 3 episodes were really good. I gotta say, who's your goat of the season? Like, who's your favorite character of the season?
Ormond was a great new addition. I feel like he's the obvious one to turn toward. He didn't have a weak moment on screen. I really do like Alice Rivers. I thought she had a especially good monologue in this recent episode.
Yeah, she's 100 years old.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That is kind of like lore-ish. Like, it's kind of like, where does she come from? And it's like, oh, she's a daughter of Harren the Black, who was, burned 100 years ago. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
I hate Ormond, but it provided a good a love to hate kind of character. But I don't, as far as my favorite, I don't know. It's hard for me to choose somebody that I really dislike their personality or whatever to choose as a favorite character, even though he's he brings a lot to the show and everything. I'm like, I just can't say that I like him.
Darren was also a pretty great new addition this season. Like, he hasn't really had any moments where he has done anything all that big or courageous, but I just feel like he's a really well characterized and believable person. Like, he's just torn between conflicting forces, and it really comes to life.
Yeah, I thought Sheep Stealer was
Yeah.
really good. One of the things I liked the most was Cyrax attacking Sheep Stealer, because in the books, even though like I hated that scene, I loved the scene like for the excitement, but I hated it because it was like a made up scene. But one of the things I loved about it was that's like Cyrax attacked Sheep Stealer, and I'm kind of like, oh my god, Cyrax, you're like she got her butt kicked, but I was really happy that like she actually did something finally, because she's been in it for so long. But for the humans, I gotta say Ormond and maybe Gwen. Really good.
Gwen is also a really good character who kind of similarly hasn't really done anything all that big or courageous, but just really feels like that.
Courageous. He's been pretty. He stopped the assassination attempt.
Okay, yeah. I do think he's a great character. I've been realizing that my relationship with this show is extremely masochistic with this universe in general, where the most enjoyment I ever get out of it is when it's making me the most miserable and distressed. Like, to see the characters I care about and the dragons, whatnot, meet their fates. It's like, it's so awful in the moment, but it's in being so affected by those scenes that the show has the fact it does.
We should have gotten a dragon death
In the last episode? Yeah, I think so. I mean, we did. We got one.
Who?
Battle of the Gullet.
Oh, no, I mean like in the episode.
Oh, this recent one?
Yeah, no, Vermax dying was huge, of course, but like in this episode, do you think
I expected it.
Huh?
I expected it. I think I would have liked to see that. Oh, one other moment of confusion for me. Well, you see 3 dragons flying away at the end, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how that made sense. What 3 dragons were they, and why did they look like they were buddies when they were from like warring sides, right? No?
That's what I said earlier. That's what I said earlier about when Silverwing goes crazy. Not goes crazy. She's ordered to burn everything. And that's one of the problems with having Caraxes there, because if Silverwing burns the town where Daemon is, Caraxes is going to know he's in trouble, and he's going to attack Silverwing. The third dragon is Vermithor, and Vermithor doesn't have a rider because Hugh the Hammer was in the city. So Vermithor is Silverwing's boyfriend. Like they have a dragon relationship. So they could have, that actually would have been really cool, because Caraxes was kind of like snapping at Silverwing and blowing fire, and Vermithor was just kind of like going next to him as if they were playing, And
that's what I thought I saw I thought I saw one of the dragons like kind of chasing at or like snapping at
that's Caraxes
one of the
chasing Silverwing, Ulf's dragon. Yeah.
Okay, so
because Vermithor doesn't know really what's going on. He's the red dragon, the big red dragon, not the skinny red dragon. I think he's just like flying next to them like they're playing or something. Like, I don't know, because that was my take, because I'm like, Caraxes, like that dragon just tried to kill Daemon, so like why aren't you jumping on top of it and killing the rider? But it is what it is. It's there is a lot of more battle stuff or dragon stuff in the battles to come soon. And if they do it justice, and if they land the ending despite everything, it will be awesome. So I gotta say, this season, first 3 episodes, really good. Last week's episode, all the episodes by themselves are actually so good. But you have to just kind of say like, but the minute you remember that there's only 8 of them and there's only 4 seasons, and we're in season 3, the end of season 3, it fucks with your brain, because it's like, shit, more things need to happen because we're running out of runway. You know.
To your point 10 minutes ago, I definitely think that one of the best things about the universe is that you care enough to debate the finer nuances. And like each
Yeah.
time I like pause and catch myself like really talking about the like parentage of certain people and the histories of certain dragons, I'm just like, wow, I'm really, really in the weeds of a completely fictional universe, and I care about what these characters do and whether they make sense. And yeah, kudos to George R.R. Martin for making this universe and for the showrunners for keeping that element alive, at least as well as they have.
Oh yeah, no, they have, but like it's like the internet's a harsh mistress for any TV show or film or book that's released because
Yep.
like like I hope people don't like misunderstand that think that I just hate the show. Like if I hated the show, I wouldn't bother like talking about it. You know what I mean? But like I truly do love it. But it's just yeah, there's just things that I think are strange and
Yep.
worth talking about.
That's fair. Yeah, I definitely had some criticisms of the season, but all in all, I'm quite thrilled with the direction the show is going.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but I just think, hear me out. And if we were to rewrite the show, the season 1 would start with Rhaenyra finding out about her father's death. And that means you're really angry because it means we'd get rid of Paddy Constantine and we wouldn't have that kick-ass Viserys performance, But I think it would have solved many problems going forward. But yeah, but maybe it's like a greedy thing because like it's like we've all waited so long for this show and to finally have the dragons depicted properly because we only got the 3 dragons in Game of Thrones and then we heard all these amazing stories about how they all looked so different in the past. They have their own personalities and things like that. And now we kind of finally have it. And it's like it's almost over. I guess it's just kind of greedy. You just kind of want more.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that. There's definitely a lot more that I would like to see. I keep trying to remember, like, okay, you got a finite special effects budget, but yeah, if I could have had a little bit more spectacle this season, I wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so what's the final verdict? Like, if you were to, I don't know, rank the seasons, season 1 still the best?
I think so.
I think that this is definitely not the best one this season, but there's so much slow stuff and so many episodes that basically not a lot happened.
Season 1 was the hardest one to get right, and I think still the one that they got the most right. This one I would put at number 2 and season 2 at number 3.
Season 2 is a weird one. I'd put season 1 at 1, best one, and then the thing is like, is it if we're comparing season 2 to season 3, I think they both have the same problems. So yeah, it goes down to the set pieces. Is Rook's Rest better than The Gullet or Tumbleton? No, it's not. But Rook's Rest and kind of seeing Release the Dragon and Rhaenys the Queen, who never was, dying, I think it means more than Tumbleton. It had more emotional weight.
Yeah.
But the Battle of the Gullet, seeing what happened to Jace and his dragon and how well that was done, like it just puts it ahead of it. So for me, season 2 is the worst, season 3 second best, and season 1 the best. Like season 1, rewatching it now, it's amazing. It's so good. Yeah.
Who would you?
The time jump.
Sorry.
The time jump I didn't feel so good about when they first made it. I was upset to lose these younger versions of the characters, but man, they really did as well as they possibly could have with that. I felt like, ultimately.
What are you saying, Brandon?
I was wondering who, like, as far as the actors go in House of the Dragon, who would you put at one of the top?
Who?
As far as the actors, which actor would you put
Oh,
as
sorry.
like
Okay.
performing
Matt
the best?
Smith, Emma Darcy. I think the guy who plays Aegon is really good. What's his name? Something Carney. If I have to choose one, Sheep Stealer. I love Sheep Stealer. But if it's going to be a human, I'm going to go with Emma Darcy. I think they are fantastic. Yeah.
I thought Tom
Really good.
Holland really, really portrayed Sheep Stealer beautifully. You can barely tell that it's Tom.
You can barely tell, but like you can tell that he hasn't been to the gym because it only took one bite from Zendaya, who was playing Cyrax, to leave a load of like gelatinous skin hanging off, like burning. It's so strange.
Timothée Chalamet as Vermithor. I also wasn't so sure about at first, but really characterized him beautifully, I thought.
I'm writing a story at the moment, a short story, is for a bit of fun, like where all the characters are animals, and I've been like, oh God, how does the penguin talk? And what does like a lion say? And I was like, I'm just going to play them as humans. Like I'm like, why am I changing? Just have the dialogue. I would love to have that with the dragons, where they just have like internal dialogue going on, where they're just kind of like, oh, here we go again.
Are you serious, bro?
Are you really? I have to fight him. That's my brother. Put the same eggs together.
There's actually a series of memes where people have started doing that. I gotta send some to you. Narrating the internal thoughts of the dragons.
I think, well, actually, Joe, we should say, like, which dragon, if an actor was going to have a voiceover for a dragon, like, so, like, I'll start, like, Caraxes would be voiced by Animal from the Muppets. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Like, he would just, that would be him, like, you probably have, like, Penelope Cruz as Cyrax or something like that. They all have different accents.
The late and great Gilbert Gottfried as Vhagar.
Yeah. I think Larry David as like Vermithor.
I'd have to put Jason Momoa in there somewhere.
Oh. I'm flying, dude. I'm Jason Momoa, and I'm a dragon, dude. Yeah, bro.
I retract what I said, and I'm now assigning Morgan Freeman the part of Vhagar.
He just narrates his murders.
Far too old and wise to not be Vhagar.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think Meryl Streep would be a good Silverwing. Then we'll get our Oscars. Yeah, but whoever's designing those dragons doing a great job.
That much I can agree on.
So this is the season finale of writers talking about TV shows. That's the name I came up with right now. What do you want to talk about next? We're going to have to agree on a TV show.
I want to watch the new Harry Potter. I'm not going to lie; it might be a slightly controversial admission for my
When's
fans.
That coming out?
I think November, December.
Oh, okay. Cool. Is there anything like in the algorithm right now that we could like talk about so that we could stay relevant with the young people?
I am short on ideas there.
All right, I tell you what, I'll go see Spider-Man.
Do it.
I'll go see Spider-Man. Yeah. All right, so
I haven't seen Spider-Man yet.
Well, it has been a delight talking to you both, and I'm sure we'll find some shows and movies to discuss in the near future. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Alexi, Thank you, Casey Affleck as Gollum. We will do it. It shall be done.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.